You cannot visit the East End without a visit to G. Kelly's and sampling the area's famous pie and mash. It's lovely.
Welcome to G. Kelly. We're in the heart of the East End in Bow, just off the Roman Road.
As a London cab driver, I am familiar with pie and mash shops all over London. But could you just tell me the history of this dish?
Pie and mash came to be in a shop around about the late 1800s when the street sellers of pies and street sellers of eels decided to join together and open up in shops and outcompeted people in the street. So the pie is just British minced beef. All our beef actually comes from a farm down in Wiltshire. And the liquor was originally made to be served with stewed eels.
Okay.
So they'd make the stewed eels up and then they'd add a batter, which is just flour and water, and then add parsley to it as like a light flavouring. So that's where it came from. Our liquor today doesn't contain any eels. It's sort of evolved to be a match with the pie, but we still do sell the eels alongside.
What's the correct drink to have with pie and mash?
There's two schools of thought here, and really I think it depends what temperature it is outside. So if it's a cold day, you've got to have a good English cup of tea. But if it's, it's a bit warm, you have a small orange juice.
What do you always recommend should follow?
So we always have apple crumbles, which is a really traditional English dish, either with custard or ice cream.
I mean, I don't think there's a Londoner alive who's never experienced pie and mash at some time. Is it as popular today as it's always been?
So probably the peak of popularity was in the 70s, but we're finding now in the last sort of 5 years, it's becoming more and more popular as people sort of get in touch with more basic foods and appreciate our food traditions of poor man's food. There's a lot of interest around it.
I mean, I have pie and mash on a Friday, but I was just intrigued to see, do you have a day that's busier than the other days?
So always Saturdays have been the busiest because we've got the market, people have got time off in the day, and it's traditionally something you eat at lunchtime. But now we've got the West Ham football stadium just down the road, so we're getting pretty busy on match days.
This shop looks quite traditional to me. Can you tell me something about the history of this particular shop?
Yeah, so this shop opened up in 1939. It was opened by a guy called George Kelly, who was my great uncle.
Oh, right.
He didn't have any kids. He actually passed it along to my granddad. So I'm fourth generation pie and mash owner. So for me, what I find quite interesting is how the decor's changed, because we were very, very busy and we got a lot damaged in the Blitz.
Right.
This one's constantly evolved. So underneath these tiles here are the original ones, which we're actually hopefully restoring. So
okay.
we're putting back the original marble tables.
Did you continue to trade during the war?
Yeah, during the war, my grandfather actually managed to negotiate for a meat ration.
Oh, right.
So the Ministry of Food would drop off the ration for the week to be able to feed the poor workforce of East London at the time, which was really suffering.
Mm. So it really is traditional East End. You've got West Ham football ground, pie and mash on a Saturday. I suppose you couldn't ask for much more, could you?
Yeah, you don't get more East End than this.